And my goal isn't to hold y'all on my standards. My goal is to help you guys develop standards for yourself that you can hold yourself accountable to, and makes it easier in this process of failing and learning. And it's pretty much the same here. We don't have to buy the expensive stuff, but it would be ultimately better too to not buy the cheap stuff. And see, that's I'm really glad you said that, right? It would be ultimately better to buy the best stuff, but you can't, right? If you don't have the money for it. And that's what I'm talking about with extremes, right? You either want to do it 100% correctly or you don't want to do it at all. And I don't think that's a good thing. And I'm not saying that this is for you. I'm saying for a lot of people that are having trouble doing this, it's like, I either want to do it perfectly or I don't want to do it at all. Well, it's like, that's not a sustainable and that's not a realistic way of doing it. Start with the cheap stuff. Start with that stuff, because that stuff is still ultimately better than anything else that you're going to be consuming when you're eating processed foods. It's better. It's still better, right? There's a motto that I follow that, like, I hear a personal trainer that I like. His name is like Jordan Syatt, and he's really cool. One thing that he has always said, and that I hear people say, is this, and I subscribe to this: some is always better than none. Okay? And I'm talking about in the context of improving and, fitness. Okay? It is infinitely better for you to do one workout every other day consistently for a week. I'm talking about just push-ups. Every other day consistently for a week with ample rest and ample nutrition than it is to do nothing. Okay? If you can't do a full workout session, do half of one. That's still better than doing nothing. If you can't do a full workout session, pick 2 workouts that you would like to get better at. Infinitely better than doing nothing. Infinitely better. Every time. Okay? If you can't eat 100% healthy and you can only afford to eat chicken, eat the chicken. Eating the chicken is still better than not eating something healthy at all. It's always better to, like, if you can't give up soda, then just drink some more water instead. Do something, right? Something is always better, right? When I used to be super addicted to McDonald's, and I couldn't stop eating McDonald's. So what I did was, instead of forcing myself to try to be the perfect staple example of not eating McDonald's, what I did was, when I went to McDonald's, instead of ordering double cheeseburgers and a large fry, instead of the large fry, I'd get like a salad instead, or I'd get a parfait instead of a ice cream cone. That's infinitely more better, and that propelled me to going like, well, I can do this salad thing. Maybe I can do something else that's healthier. Maybe instead of eating a soda on top of the salad, I can consume some water instead. And you'll see how your brain is working through this, right? I'm able to do this consistently. Maybe I can do a little bit more. Maybe I can do a little bit more, and before you know it, you're doing a lot better than when you first started. You're taking 5 steps forward when you were just over there standing, right? Yeah, but sometimes that habit comes back to control you again. Right. And yeah, that's true. And I'm not talking about getting rid of like the desire, right? I still like every now and then like go and get McDonald's because the craving is still there. But it's not about like completely squelching and destroying the desire to do something. It's about living with it and understanding that it's there and letting it impact your decisions a little bit less each time. Right? Because even if you take 8 steps and go back 3, you still took a step forward, right? So like, cause like, here, this is how people think of like nutrition in a way of how it's supposed to go, right? You start right here, boom, you hit your goal, right? So it's like the vision, but in reality it's like this. Okay? You're going to be taking a lot of steps forward, but you're also going to be taking a couple steps backwards. Sometimes that step backward might even cause relapsing, right? But understanding that you're not going to get it done the first time, or get it done the first time perfectly, is the ultimate step into achieving your goal, right? You fail. How did I fail? What can I learn from that? What can I do to propel myself forward and become better, And then boom, you do it. Oh, I failed again. You know, not as bad as this time, but I failed still. What can I do to do better, right? And it's just a constant cycle of improving until you reach that goal. And the funny thing happens when you reach that goal. It's like, really, I fail is just one step closer. 100%. I 100% agree with that. And that's really good, right? And what ends up happening is those accumulation of failures are ultimately what lead to your success. It's ultimately what helps you become the version of the person that you want to become, right? So like, that's why like it's okay. Like you just gotta, it's a learning process. And that's why like to me, fitness is so freaking interesting, right? Because our definitions of healthy, our definition of what's good and what's bad could be the ultimate reason why a person that is in every metric and textbook definition of bad for you is achieving his goals, right? It's always dependent upon the individual. The individual is completely different. You guys are completely different than how I am. And Kasha, you are right. It is sometimes okay to treat yourself. It is okay to treat yourself sometimes, right? And like, I'm not saying, and that's why I say you don't have to give up anything like necessarily. Sometimes you do have to give up some things because sometimes those are in the way of what you're doing, right? When I'm trying to like, you know, cut down on some weight and stuff, what I ultimately do is I stop eating McDonald's for like a certain period of days. And it's like on the 30th day, I'll eat like a McDonald's meal, you know, to treat myself and stuff like that. Whatever works, right? Because I'm not textbook definition of healthy. I know a lot of people that would just go like, oh, well, I mean, you eat McDonald's, so you're not healthy at all, right? You eat McDonald's and that's objectively bad. You should be eating all things that are homegrown, all things that are organic. But like, we got to talk about what's sustainable to people, okay? And what I do might not be sustainable for y'all. And my goal isn't to hold y'all on my standards. My goal is to help you guys develop standards for yourself that you can hold yourself accountable to, and makes it easier in this process of failing and learning. Okay? That's what this is all about. Okay, guys? And then you'll hit your goals. You'll be that Chad that you've always wanted to be. And you know, you'll become better. So in short, nutrition is very complex sometimes, but the general principles to live a better and more fulfilling lifestyle in regards to your health and fitness is pretty simple. But just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy, okay? I think people think that simple and easy are the same, but they're not, okay? How do I get better at tests? Study. How do I get stronger? Work out. Okay, yes, that's simple, but doing it consistently, doing it every day, and not breaking on the goals that you set for yourself is very difficult, right? So there's a lot of things that can be learned from this. But ultimately, as long as you're always open-minded and trying to do new things and able to swallow your pride and accept that there are some things you might not be good at, or there's some like ways that you might not excel at, and constantly strive for that improvement, you're only going to become one step closer to your goals in the first place. So just keep up at it, guys. And if not for anyone, know that I believe in you 100% every time. I believe in all of y'all.